So when I was 2 years old, my family ended up getting into a car accident, and only me and my sister survived. And so shortly after that, we were adopted into my aunt and uncle's family. And we were a family that grew up in and around the church, and we went to church every Sunday. And but I didn't really understand what the I didn't really fully grasp what was being said. Instead I doodled, I napped during church, and I just really looked for anything to keep me entertained and outside of my boredom. And then as life went on, I never really got to deal with my parents' death emotionally, and so that it hit me hard when I got into middle school. And so it made me feel like I was some kind of freak, like I was never going to have normality or any kind of sense of normal. And so instead I searched and sought for things that could bring me a sense of fulfillment, like alcohol and smoking cigarettes or watching porn, things like that. And but it never brought me full completion. It never really made me feel whole. And so when I got into I think it was 10th grade, I ended up having a conversation with one of my friends who knew that whatever facade of happiness I had been playing my entire life, they knew it was fake. They knew that I wasn't being real about myself. They knew I wasn't being real about who I was. And they talked to me and they asked me about my beliefs, if I believed in God. And I never doubted the existence of God, but I can't say that I fully trusted in His Son Jesus. But instead, I kind of did the thing where you start to think, oh, maybe all religions are connected, but it never played out. But she asked me if she could go through the gospel with me, and we ended up running through it. And she talked to me about how God's Son came down and died for our sins, and how His grace is a gift that isn't earned or rewarded, but rather it's a gift that is given to us. And she talked about the relationship that God had sought to have with me, and the relationship that you can have with Him. And so then at the end of our talk, we prayed, and finally in that moment, that's when I finally felt a moment of completion. That's where I finally started to have real joy, real happiness, and where I started to actually feel complete. And that's my story.